I'm Rose, sitting in my cramped Chicago apartment, staring at the blinking cursor on my laptop screen. It mocks me as I try to churn out the next chapter of my novel. The pile of unpaid bills on the coffee table looms in the corner of my eye, a constant reminder that my barista job barely covers rent. But hey, a girl's got dreams, right? My phone buzzes, pulling me from my thoughts. It's my best friend, William. Yo, Rose, how's the writing going? I sigh. About as well as my love life, non-existent. He chuckles. Come on, it can't be that bad. Want to grab a coffee? I'm buying. You know Iceland coffee all day, right? But fine, ni Eva Joe's in 20. I throw on a worn-out jacket and head out, the chilly Chicago wind nipping at my face. As I walk, my thoughts drift to my so-called family. My mom, Linda, had me when she was practically a kid herself. And my biological dad disappeared faster than you can say deadbeat. At Joe's, I spot William waving from our usual corner booth. He's already ordered my usual latte, bless him. Spill it, he says as I slide in across from him. What's got you looking like someone stole your last cookie? I take a sip, savoring the warmth before answering. Just family stuff, you know how it is. William nods, understanding in his eyes. He's heard it all before. Oliver and Nancy, he asks. Bingo. I don't even know why I bother anymore. I say, frustration simmering just beneath the surface. Oliver married my mom when I was 5, but he never treated me like I was his. And Nancy, my so-called sister, don't even get me started. They're still giving you a hard time. I nod, trying to keep my voice steady. It's been worse since Mom died. They don't even hide how much they don't want me around anymore. William reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. You don't need them, Rose. You've got friends who actually care about you. I know, I say, forcing a smile. It's just, they're supposed to be family, you know? As we finish our coffee, my phone pings with a new email. I open it, groaning at the sight of an overly formal invitation. What now? William asks, raising an eyebrow. It's an invite to Oliver's 55th birthday bash. Some fancy party at the mansion, I say, holding up my phone for him to see. Are you actually considering going? He asks, skepticism written all over his face. I hesitate, torn. Part of me wants to delete the email and forget I ever saw it. But another part, yeah, I think I will. I don't know why I keep torturing myself. But maybe this time will be different. William gives me a wary look. Just be careful, okay? And call me if you need an escape plan. I nod, though a knot forms in my stomach as I head home. Back in my apartment, I flop onto the bed, staring at the ceiling. The invitation feels like it's burning a hole in my pocket. I pull it out and read it again. You are cordially invited to celebrate Oliver Thompson's 55th birthday. Cordially, right. That's how they've always treated me, with forced politeness and a healthy dose of disdain. I can't help but remember Mom's funeral, the way Oliver and Nancy stood apart, like my grief was some contagious disease. The whispers, the sidelong glances, but still I keep going back, keep hoping that maybe this time they'll see me as part of the family. I grab my phone, typing out a quick RSVP. I'll be there. As I hit send, I wonder if I'm making a huge mistake. The night of the party, I find myself standing in front of Oliver's mansion, my hand hovering over the ornate doorbell. The muffled sounds of laughter and clinking glasses seep through the heavy door. I take a deep breath, smooth down my dress, and press the bell. A butler answers, his gaze sweeping over me with thinly veiled disdain. Name? Rose Johnson, I say, forcing confidence into my voice. I'm Oliver's stepdaughter. He raises an eyebrow but steps aside, allowing me in. The noise hits me like a wave. Dozens of people in designer clothes, chattering and sipping champagne. Rose, you made it. William's voice cuts through the din. I turn to see him pushing through the crowd, a grin plastered on his face. He pulls me into a hug. Wouldn't miss it, I reply, trying to smile. Thanks for being my plus one. Are you kidding? Free booze and a front row seat to the family drama. I'm all in, he jokes. I laugh, swatting his arm. Jerk. Come on, let's grab a drink. As we weave through the crowd, I can feel eyes on me, hear the whispers that trail in our wake. I try to focus on William's running commentary about the stuffy rich folks, but it's hard to ignore the feeling of being watched. Well, if it isn't the prodigal stepdaughter, a familiar voice sneers. I turned to see Nancy, dressed to the nines in a gown that probably costs more than my rent. A champagne flute dangles from her perfectly manicured fingers. "Hello, Nancy," I say, forcing a polite smile. "Happy birthday to Oliver." She smirks. "Oh, I'm sure Daddy will be thrilled you remembered. He's over there, holding court with his business partners. Why don't you go say hello?" Before I can respond, she saunters off, leaving a trail of expensive perfume. William squeezes my shoulder. "You okay?" "Yeah," I mutter, downing my champagne in one gulp. "Let's go find him." We spot Oliver surrounded by men in sharp suits, their conversation a blur of stock prices and mergers. I approach hesitantly. "Oliver," I say, my voice barely a whisper. He turns, his smile faltering for just a second. "Rose, you came," he says, pulling me into a stiff, awkward hug. "Gentlemen, this is my stepdaughter." One of the men, younger than the rest, steps forward with a charming smile. "Michael Davis. Pleasure to meet you, Rose." As Michael and I shook hands, I felt an unexpected flutter in my stomach. Maybe, just maybe, this evening wouldn't be so bad after all. For the next hour, I actually started to enjoy myself. Michael was charming, funny, and easy to talk to, and even Oliver seemed to be warming up. Soon Emma, Oliver's business partner's daughter, joined us, and the four of us were laughing and swapping stories. But then Nancy reappeared, clearly drunk, stumbling into our little circle. She latched onto Michael's arm, her eyes narrowing as she noticed me. "Mikey, I see you've met my dear half-sister," she slurred, each word laced with bitterness. "Did she tell you about her mysterious background?" The mood shifted instantly. Michael's brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" he asked, his smile fading. Nancy's eyes gleamed with malice as she grinned. "Oh, you didn't know? Rose here is of unknown parentage. Daddy took her in out of the goodness of his heart." The silence was suffocating. I felt the blood drain from my face as everyone turned to stare. Oliver cleared his throat but said nothing, his gaze firmly fixed on the floor. Michael looked between Nancy and me, clearly unsure how to respond. Emma gasped softly, her hand covering her mouth. Frozen in place, I barely registered Nancy's next words. "It's quite the scandal, really. No one knows who her real father is. For all we know, she could be—" "That's enough, Nancy." William's voice sliced through the tension, and before I knew it, his arm was around my shoulders. "Rose, let's go." As he led me away, I glanced back just once and caught Oliver's expression. He looked relieved, like he was glad to see me go. We burst out of the mansion and into the cool night air. I gulped down a shaky breath, trying to keep myself from falling apart. "Rose, breathe. It's okay. They're not worth it," William murmured, pulling me into a hug. I shook my head, tears spilling over. How could she, in front of everyone? "She's a miserable person, that's how. Come on, I'm taking you home." The ride back to my apartment was a blur. William tried to comfort me, but I barely heard him. All I could think about was the look on everyone's faces, the pity, the shock, the judgment. By the time we got to my place, my heart felt like it had been ripped open. I kicked off my heels and collapsed onto the couch. William lingered by the door. "Do you want me to stay?" he asked softly. I shook my head. "No, I need to be alone right now. Thanks for everything, William." After he left, I sat in the dark, replaying the entire night in my mind. How could I have been so stupid to think that maybe, just maybe, they'd accept me this time? My phone buzzed, breaking the silence. It was a notification from Instagram. With shaking hands, I opened it. There it was, a post from Nancy, clearly made before the party. "Can't wait to see everyone tonight." Well, almost everyone. #family secrets, #unknown parentage. The comments were filled with laughing emojis, shocked faces, and questions. People I thought were friends, all chiming in and speculating about me. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a heart full of rage. Enough was enough. It was time to fight back. My first call was to Grandma Eleanor. We hadn't spoken much since Mom died, but I needed answers. "Rose, is everything all right, dear?" she asked, her voice concerned. "Not really, Grandma. I need to talk to you about Mom and Oliver." There was a long pause before she responded. "I suppose it's time you knew the truth. Come over for tea." An hour later, I was sitting in Grandma's cozy living room, clutching a steaming mug of tea as she looked at me, a sadness in her eyes. Your mother loved you more than anything, Rose, she began. But Oliver, he made her life hell. My hands tightened around the mug. What do you mean? He was controlling, manipulative. He isolated Linda from her friends, from me. And his business practices, let's just say they weren't entirely above board. As Grandma spoke, the pieces began to fall into place. I remembered the hushed arguments. I remember overhearing things as a child, the inexplicable mood swings, the way Oliver always seemed to get his way, how Mom would fall silent whenever he entered the room. But I never understood why no one said anything. Grandma's eyes filled with tears when I asked her. We tried, dear, but Oliver had everyone under his thumb, including Linda. He isolated her, made sure she had no one to turn to. I left Grandma's house with a heavy heart, but a newfound determination. The truth was uglier than I'd imagined, but I was done being in the dark. My next stop was William's place. I need your help, I said the moment he opened the door. William raised an eyebrow. We going to dig into Oliver's company? I nodded. I know it's risky, but we have to. I need to know what he's hiding. Isn't that illegal? He asked, a cautious smile tugging at his lips. Not if we do it right. Come on, I know you've got connections in the finance world. For the next few days, William and I pored over public records, financial reports, and anything else we could get our hands on. Piece by piece, the puzzle came together. Holy, William muttered, staring at his laptop screen in disbelief. Rose, look at this. I leaned over his shoulder, my eyes widening. Is that what I think it is? Yep, he said grimly. Looks like your dear old stepdad's been cooking the books for years. Embezzlement, fraud, you name it. Just then, my phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. I hesitated but answered. Rose? It's Emma. I'm really sorry about what happened at the party. I think there's something you should know about Nancy. We met at a quiet cafe later that afternoon. Emma looked nervous, her hands trembling as she held her coffee cup. Nancy's been bullying people for years, she blurted out. Not just you. I've got proof, screenshots, videos, everything. Why are you telling me this? I asked, still stunned. Emma met my eyes with a fierce determination. Because it's time someone stood up to her. And I think that someone is you. As if on cue, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from Michael. Rose, we need to talk. I'm not just a business associate of Oliver's. I'm an undercover journalist investigating his company. My head was spinning. In just a few days, my whole world had turned upside down. But for the first time in years, I felt a glimmer of hope. That night, I sat at my laptop, fingers hovering over the keyboard. The cursor blinked at me, waiting. I took a deep breath and started typing. Chapter 1. The Girl in the Shadows. My tell-all book about growing up in a toxic family was finally taking shape. No real names, of course. I wasn't stupid, but the truth was all there. And that's all the time we have for today's segment, the talk show host announced, turning to me with a smile. Join us next week when we'll be talking to Rose Johnson, author of the runaway bestseller Shadows in the Family Portrait. Rose, thanks for being here. I smiled at the camera, my heart racing. Thanks for having me. The moment we went off air, my phone exploded with notifications. The book had struck a chord, sparking conversations about emotional abuse and toxic family dynamics across the country. But this was just the beginning. William burst into my apartment, waving a newspaper in his hand. Have you seen this? He asked, practically vibrating with excitement. I grabbed the paper, my eyes widening at the headline. Thompson Industries under federal investigation for fraud. Michael's exposé had done its job. Oliver's carefully constructed empire was crumbling. My phone rang again. It was Emma, her voice breathless with excitement. It worked. The board saw the evidence of Nancy's bullying. She's been fired, and her social media is blowing up. No one wants to touch her with a 10-foot pole. I sank onto the couch, overwhelmed. It was actually happening. The truth was finally coming out. Then came the call I'd been dreading. Rose, Oliver's voice was weak, strained. I've had a heart attack. The doctors say it's stress. I know I have no right to ask, but I need you. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath. I'm sorry, Oliver, but I can't be there for you. Not after everything you've done. But we're family, he pleaded. No, Oliver. We're not. I replied, my voice steady. Take care of yourself. I hung up, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. The next day, another call came in. This time, it was Nancy, her voice tearful and apologetic. "Rose, I'm so sorry for everything. Can we talk?" I listened to her rambling apology, feeling nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, just emptiness. "I hear you, Nancy, and I accept your apology. But that doesn't mean I want you in my life." I hung up, finally ready to move on. I had spent too many years chasing acceptance from people who never deserved my loyalty. Now, I was free.